Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Entrepreneurship Unplugged. This is York Zuki, and thanks so much for being or listening to the show. I really appreciate your time. So this is a post following an engagement I had about a friend who said, York, I see you do a lot with entrepreneurs around the world. As you know, or may not know, actually, we work with 423 cities across 27 countries. And he says, York, how do I, as a small business owner, we're talking about literally a self-employed person, how do I help entrepreneurs? What can I actually practically do? I'm not a large corporate or government, city, municipality. I'm not a big non-for-profit organization with tons of spare resources, time, and capital. I can't invest in other businesses, but I would love to lend a hand. And it made me think about how so many of us forget that entrepreneurs, especially in the starting blocks, we're talking about startups, we're talking about recent graduates, we're talking about young people trying their luck who think they have an idea and want to start the journey of exploring if the idea gets any traction. So how do we support them? These are people who need practical assistance, and often we think support is money, and I would like to dispel that. Not saying that money is not important, but there's far more important and practical things you can do to support entrepreneurs. I'll give you a practical example. One, you could allow people to use your spare desk in your office and your Wi-Fi. This helps entrepreneurs keep their overheads down. People who don't have a deposit, that monthly cash flow that is required to pay for that co-working space and so forth. The second thing, you could you invite entrepreneurs, young people, bring them to events and conference, and maybe even relevant meetings you're going to, especially because this helps their networks. It's not that they couldn't attend those meetings as well, but often they're going there a little bit lost, often a bit shy. And so if you take them along, make them sit into webinar seminars, introduce them, let them be part, let them hear how you negotiate, how you open doors, how you introduce yourself, discuss. Those are hugely beneficial frames of reference that you're helping them get. A third one, which might appear a bit superficial, is engage with the content that these startups, entrepreneurs post on social media. I mean, I'm a LinkedIn fan, not of the technology, but of the potential of LinkedIn. And by engaging with somebody's post, I don't just mean a little like here and there. I'm talking about commenting, hey, I saw York posted this. York, and you could comment something along, York, I really appreciate what you posted. Made me think of ABCD. It doesn't really matter what. And please keep up the great content. That has dual significance doing this. One is you make, obviously, the person who posted it feel appreciated and seen, but you're also expanding the reach of that post in your own network. This has hugely beneficial angles for entrepreneurs. A fourth point perhaps to consider is to give small jobs and tasks and against a nominal payment for entrepreneurs. Guys, girls, we're talking about people who are struggling. Not everybody is lucky to have wealthy parents, uncles, brothers, aunts, whatever the case, spouses who can subsidize a lifestyle. Give a small job, something that they can do that isn't particularly risky, might not even be specifically affiliated with the entrepreneur's areas of expertise, so to speak. But it helps them bring cash flow in. It helps them expand their track record. It helps them being busy and engaged and motivated and involved. And this is hugely, hugely important. The fifth is to introduce them in a sort of risk-adjusted way to relevant opportunities. I'll give you a practical example. Let's say you hear of a young person who wants to become a landscaper, and involve them, and you have an opportunity for them to work on a garden project, maybe as part of the team. Hell, it can be as simple as shoveling dirt, or planting flowers or digging out grass. And But by doing that, you're giving first-hand experience to that future landscaper, understanding the time it takes to do a project, the practical realities, how much sweat goes into it, what resources are needed, how a project goes from planification right down to execution and delivery. That's hugely beneficial for many entrepreneurs who, let's be honest, come out of the gate a little bit naive about the realities of what it means to do actual work. A sixth one is, in my view, perhaps the best you can do is be a customer of that entrepreneur, even if their service or product absolutely stinks. It's, every entrepreneur has their, oh shit, I can't find a client because nobody wants to be the first one. So bring them on board as your customer, as your supplier. Take a risk on them. Maybe, manage the risk. Don't give them something that might jeopardize your reputation or might the whole business. Put them in the sideline. Incubate them. Remember that free desk and a bit of Wi-Fi that you gave them, and coffee, by the way. I'm addicted to coffee, so I think I should throw it in. but be their first customer, and tell them not to shout maybe from the rooftop, but that gives them a chance also to learn about your business, to really understand, no matter how horrible their first idea is, they can now shape it around real needs because they're sitting amongst the employees and not pitching to you and pretending that they know everything. A seventh one, which I particularly love, is allow entrepreneurs to use your resources when you are not using them. I'm talking about that conference room you don't use in the evenings or on weekends, where they can hold seminars, workshop, and so forth. Or perhaps it's the what you call it, the working shed in your garage, which you don't normally use during the day, but only weekends. But for an entrepreneur who's manufacturing little wooden whatever, or 3D printing, that is an insanely precious working space in the garage at your home, that they have a toilet, electricity, they can use it, they can experiment, they don't have huge rents to pay, and so forth. So that's enormously beneficial. I can go on maybe 2-3 more points. For example, one of the things that I love to do with entrepreneurs is to call them up from time to time to find out how they're doing. Entrepreneurship is an extremely lonely journey, and can be a very lonely journey. It does wonders for us entrepreneurs to know that somebody out there cares and roots for us. Another one is, if you're going to support entrepreneurs, try not to tell them, give them advice of how and what they should do. If you really want to help them, invest time with them on figuring out how to turn their ideas into practice. No matter, I made this mistake often, but no matter how brilliant we think we are, when it comes to execution, we fall flat on our faces. It's very rare that I started a business that was the same a year later. Because we pivot, this beautiful word, we change, we listen to customers, we change our description with our service, we add, we reduce, we mold it into something that the market really wants, hopefully. So telling them what will work and what doesn't is very different from, okay, so you have this idea, and maybe at the back of your mind you know that this is a really shitty idea. Okay, but let me help you. Let's sit down, okay, with a whiteboard, and okay, run me through the steps, practical steps of what you, dear entrepreneur, are going to do about this tomorrow morning. And then I'm going to do this, okay? But no, don't. I'm going to approach a company. Who are you going to approach in that company? I'm going to approach a marketing department. Who in the marketing department? Oh, this person, okay. Have you got a contact? How are you going to approach them? So by breaking that down, you're actually encouraging the entrepreneur to really think through on the practicalities of execution. And that process will in turn make the entrepreneur come to certain realizations on their own. Plus you will understand their business much more. So that's very powerful. And, sometimes when we are sitting outside watching entrepreneurs, it's very easy to be critical of the entrepreneur's idea of a service or product that they're thinking of creating. And we go into this sort of intellectual exercise where is it really innovative? Does it check the sustainability box? But how will it be scalable to a billion something company? And I invite us all not to think like that. Rather, sometimes I speak from personal experience. We started and grew the startup tribe, which today runs the Academy of 423 cities across the world, with something that's absolutely not novel, new, or innovative. We just did it reasonably well. We did it cheaper than anybody on the back end side. We figured out things as we went with limited resources, and that resource-constrained environment made us do it better. And we just provided an excellent service. And the clients love us. And they say, but how are you different from the others? And I say, we are totally not different. But here's why people love us. So sometimes a service, the standards, the personal touch can be life and break. Sure, yes, you could argue, but one entrepreneur with a couple of colleagues is one thing, but how are they going to scale when they reach 1,000 entrepreneurs? How are they going to keep a personal touch? Well, screw that. That comes later. Help them do that first part. Get them to a break-even point. And then they will grow and learn and figure out that actually it's difficult to scale that across different regions, etc., etc. But why be negative in the long run? Rather be positive, optimistic, and help them to start and grow. So I hope this few suggestions helped stimulate your brain around how you can help your local entrepreneurs on a more proactive level. I hope you do take that little risk and have an open conversation, by the way, with entrepreneurs. If the chemistry is not working or you are uncomfortable with the way they're behaving, maybe they're using too many resources, chat with them very open and say, look, I want you to use my garage. I'm a little bit worried about insurance. I'm a little bit worried you're going to burn down the house. And I don't want you to work on weekends because I'd like to have a house. Have this very open conversation, and you'll be absolutely blown away by how receptive and how welcoming so many entrepreneurs are by this little gesture of support. So happy entrepreneuring. I hope you find the stimulation, and I hope you find the courage to take that first step to help somebody, because if 4 billion people help another 4 billion people, can you imagine the speed at which we can grow the world's economy and lift people's lives? Thanks for listening, and see you next time.